Thank you for joining us on this week's Power and Politics. We actually have three guests with us here today. Thank you all for coming on. This is Rockwell Austin, this is Dawida Sanon, and then we also have Octavius Austin with us here today. Thank you all for coming. They're here for a multitude of reasons, as you know, but there's a Caribbean festival happening this Saturday in Albany on Jennings Landing. The two gentlemen on the outside, they're part of the committee for that. And of course, we know Dawida from her work with the Columbia County Sanctuary Movement. Let's start with the festival itself. We'll start with, I guess, you guys, and we were just talking about it off camera, the impetus behind this. Where did it come from, the first annual that you guys are putting on? Octavius.
Well, this is a collaborative effort for sure. It's something that we always wanted to do. Instead of us going all the way to New York City for Labor Day parade and things like that, not taking anything from it, but this is the capital of New York. And a lot of people don't, it's not a lot of light that shined on Albany as much for things like that. And there are a lot of Caribbean people that live here. Yeah. So we just wanted to come together and do something for the capital region. Yeah,
Rockwell, what kind of reception do you think it's been getting? I mean, how have you guys been able to organize and get the word out about this?
Basically, mostly social media. We had flyers posted up, and basically word of mouth. But everyone, we had great feedback about it. So
yeah. Wait, what message, I guess, do you want this to send? I guess, why bring people like this together?
Yeah, so for me, I feel like in my work, I realized that the Caribbean diaspora is very all over the place, to say the least, and I wanted to do an event. I feel like we're in the capital and we're campaigning a lot. Like, it's always like heavy ask, like coming out all day to be in the buildings and, you know, like talking to legislators, and it's just like, how about just coming to the Capitol and just having a day of fun, and also with the new arrivals, like, right, like just like them being in community with everybody else, and just like having this event be like a bridge to bring everybody together. I think it's really super important.
Yeah. What should people expect at the event?
People should just expect fun. It's a time to come out with your family. You could bring your kids. It's going to be a safe place, safety first. That's what our motto is. We'll have a lot of great food. So if you've never tried Caribbean food, this is the event to come to try it for the first time.
Music too, Rockwell?
Music, a lot of music. A lot of mostly reggae artists, local reggae artists, and you know, just the up and coming.
We talked a lot about partnerships. I guess, how are you guys able to facilitate support from the community when it comes to this?
Yeah, we have a lot of community organizations that are going to be tabling. We got a lot of sponsorships. NYIC, which is our coalition organization, one of the lead organizations, immigrant organizations in the state, is sponsoring us. Just really a lot of support, people applying to vend, and just really pushing it and promoting the festival. And, you know, like, we do a Latinx festival every year in Hudson, New York, and we're in our 4th year for that. So this festival in itself is just our first in Albany, but we have done other festivals aside from this. So it's just really good to be in the area, really good to see like our partner organizations supporting, pushing it, volunteers coming out and saying, yes, I want to be a part, I want to support, I want to volunteer. So it's really great to see it come together.
Just so people know, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Jennings Landing. It's free as well, which obviously is something we should also know. Why, we were just talking before about, you're a DJ, Octavius, internationally.
Yes.
But yet you choose, you know, a lot of your time, you spend your life in Albany. And you look at events like this and trying to uplift the city and the groups of people. For you, why this area? Why have you chosen to invest and stay here?
Well, this is where I was born. So, of course, anywhere you're born, by right, you're going to want to do good for the community. You're going to want to try to do your best to elevate and bring light to the community. So I feel like it's my duty, especially as someone that travels around, to bring some of that, of what I learned when I travel, back to my home.
How about you, Rockwell?
Same thing as tech. You know, you go a lot of places and they tell you how great it was. So hopefully we could have that same experience in Albany, where people say, I had a great time here.
Yeah, and you talked about some of the new arrivals a little while ago. What do you think we talk about these community organizations like yours all the time. I mentioned Eden's Rose, who I spoke with today. I guess, how do you think the community has responded? You know, when it doesn't, not necessarily officials, but to have new people come and that might not know the area, might not know them. What do you think the reception has been like at the end of the day?
I think I could specifically talking about this area.
Yeah.
I think it's been good. From when folks started coming, we had like people like, hey, what do you guys need? You need clothes, you need this, you need diapers, you need stuff for the kids. Like, so people were like, we're really, really like, what can I do to help? What do you guys need? Doing basic intake, stuff like that. So, and I still feel like it's still that kind of reception. I know that there's a lot of like politics going on both sides, but I think like overall, like in this area, I think that people like want to welcome the newcomers in the community, and I really think that this is a great event for them to do so.
Well, if those that might not know about Columbia County Sanctuary Movement, what do you provide? What are the resources,
Yes.
and how do you help?
So we are a nonprofit organization, and we work with immigrants predominantly in Columbia County, Greene County, Dutchess, and Albany. We in Rensselaer as well. We do court support. We do we do court support. We do interpretation. If somebody needs like a document translated, we do. We refer if we're not able. We have a legal program. So if we're not able to take certain cases, we'll be able to refer to like our partner organizations. We have a food program, Comida para la Gente, which has been doing food drops actually every week to the hotels for the asylum seekers, because they've been having food insecurities in the hotels. So and we partner with local farms to get those food, like culturally relevant foods, not just like canned stuff. So that's just kind of like some of the things we do, and then we also do like member building workshops, home ownership workshops, like how to build your credit, how to buy a home, like just certain things like that.
Yeah. What do you think, I guess I think it was last month, there was a lot of, I guess the whole time, there's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of communication issues when it comes to New York City and upstate, and between your organization and the individuals that are here. What is the situation right now? You know, what are people experiencing? Has it gotten better? Are they finding jobs? Are they finding homes at this point? What's it look like?
I would say, as far as in comparison to the communication between us and the city, the state, it's definitely been better. There's as far as that, I would say it's been better. I think there's still some struggles within the hotels, within the day-to-day. I'm not gonna say that it's like easy peasy for the folks. It's still like they're still like sitting ducks waiting for the paperwork to go through. You know, and then everything with the new mandates about people having to get out after a certain amount of time, so that's really causing uncertainties. We're seeing a lot of families being displaced because of that, but I definitely think that we do have officials in the city that are trying to work with us and are really trying to partner with local organizations to really make sure these people get like some housing.
Yeah.
So it's been better.
What has to happen to help facilitate the process of documentation, of work authorization? What's still missing there right now? So I'm sure, because from what I've heard, there are still steps and things that are missing.
I think for me, what I see on the ground is that, number one, as far as like the whole housing situation, I think that there needs to be an organization or agency that is in charge of the individuals that are being housed, that actually its focus area is in immigration, because we see a lot of like the companies that are actually providing the services, they don't really know the needs of the folks that they're providing the services for. They're not versed in dealing with traumatic situations that people have been through, especially coming through the borders and coming, you know, so I think that's one. And then, like I said, always like expediting the working papers and expediting the process of, because like they just want to work. They don't want to just be, it's like they don't want to be sitting ducks in the hotels, right? Like they want to get out, they want to work, they don't want to depend on the system. So I think the quicker it is for us to be able to get them that paperwork, then the faster it would be because like I said before in our last interview, like I know that we know the rhetoric that's going on, right? Like, and we don't want people to feel like the new arrivals are a clutch, because they're not. They're going to be an asset to the community. Like, they're going to have businesses, they're going to bring income, revenue, pay taxes. We just need to make sure that they are able to do it in a legal way.
I wanted to ask you about the rhetoric. We talked about this during our town hall a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I think now. It was interesting. I was down at the U.S. Capitol a few weeks ago talking to the Republican Congressman, Mark Molinaro, who I believe is Columbia County, all things considered. He introduced legislation that day, I want to make sure I get it right, that would create a registry of illegal immigrants who have been convicted of a felony. And that caveat at the end, I think, was a little bit different for me. I'm wondering, is that something, I guess, how would you react to something like that? Because, of course, there's the conversations around immigrants and crime. As we know, there is no data, and we heard from the Albany police chief that crime is down where the immigrants came in. When it comes to something like this, when a violent act does occur, do you think a registry is something that should exist? Or, I guess, how do you feel about that?
I think that there's not a registry for any other citizen in this country. I think that, yeah, we're immigrants, but we're still in the United States. So if there's a registry for people and overall for everybody, then yeah. But specifically just for immigrants, then no, because then that means you're labeling, you're classifying. Because I think that if you did your time for the crime that you committed, then why would you be on a registry unless it's mandated by the federal government as like overall and in a broader general sense? That I'm not against. I'm not saying like if it's a mandated registry for everyone, then yeah, but specifically just because you're an immigrant, no, I don't think that that's right.
We spoke about this the last time we talked as well, just about you look at some of this reactionary legislation or thought process of allowing ICE and local governments to coordinate among such things. That's something that you are against. And just to reiterate, why is that?
So I feel that local government shouldn't be doing the work of the federal government. I don't think that it's the place of local government to be giving information to ICE. I've even seen instances where American citizens have been given over to ICE because they might not have had their immigration status, so automatically assumed that they were an immigrant. If the federal government wants to go after you, or if like, they need to go about it the legal way, get a warrant from the judge, and I just don't think that local government, I feel like everybody should be able to live safely in their community. You should be able to go to court. You should be able to go to school, register your kids in school. If there's a domestic violence situation, you should be able to report that, because the fact that local governments collude with ICE, it really is a public safety issue, because people don't report crime, or people don't go get vaccinated, or just simple things like that, because there's nothing stopping these different agencies or these companies from just giving your information away. So I think that's really what's dangerous about it overall, but I just really don't think that local agencies should be doing the work of federal government.
Yeah, and I think there is some misconceptions out there about the sanctuary status of a city or a county. That designation doesn't prevent the local government from doing any of that, even though it might be called that. More so, I think I talked to the mayor about it last year. She said, well, sanctuary just means we're not going to ask your immigration status for this, or that. I think there's probably some misconceptions around that at the same time, which is interesting. So now, looking outward, we have a presidential election here coming up, and as I guess people probably understand how both sides of the equation feel, but we just saw a change for the Democrats, and when it comes to the border, when it comes to the Democratic ticket. From Kamala Harris coming from Joe Biden, is there anything that you've seen or heard that that would allow, I guess, you to think things are going to move forward, backward, or any other way with what she was tasked with when it comes to the border, which I understand to be more of the conversations with other countries compared to maybe what could happen moving forward? That was a long question, but it's a complicated one,
Loaded
right?
question. I would say to that question, I would call her forward. If she is our president, I think that there definitely needs to be work done on the border to make sure that the process is safe, to make sure that people are also being vetted as well, and not just saying, okay, we're going to stop certain people from coming, or we're going to stop this amount of people from coming, or limit this a day, because I don't necessarily think that that's really solving the issue, right? Like, I think it's just putting a Band-Aid on the issue. So I think we really just need to sit down on both aisles and just actually really talk, because I think, you know, yes, I'm an immigrant, and yes, I work in the immigrant sector, but I think that in order for us to move this country forward, we need to talk and listen to each other. Because even if I might feel like I'm all the way right, you're gonna always also feel like you're all the way right. So we have to have some kind of consensus. So I think that that's really what it is, and I think that that's what my message would be, is just calling her forward to have some kind of bipartisan, you know, like something, agreement, something where we can all move forward, because this is a big issue. It really is.
Yeah, I was talking with an immigration attorney today about the influx that happened, and she tied it a lot. Said, well, the change in administration back 4 years ago, and the pandemic policies as well. And she said, well, we'll see with another change in administration how that's perceived, especially around the world even, at the end of the day. So my question back locally is, if there is another influx, is the capital region, if New York City sends individuals up more, is the capital region ready?
We're not. We're not. We weren't ready when we got the first wave. Like back in May, you know, I talked to you before. My main job was just really being in the hotels with folks and doing basic intakes, because we weren't getting any information at all about who was coming here. So it's like, who are you? When did you come? When do you have to fill out your paperwork? When do you need to get your asylum kit? Because a lot of times they came here, but they've probably already been in the city or somewhere else for months and months at a time. So when they got here, they might have 2 weeks before they have to fill out an application, because you have to fill out asylum application out within a year. So it's just like cases like that, just trying to get like paperwork, numbers, who's here, who are you, where you come from, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the organizations, we've been told, are tasked. They're
It's
taxed,
a lot,
right?
and we don't have a lot of lawyers. There's not a lot of, it's not like, a lot of the resources that's allocated in New York goes to downstate. It doesn't come up here. So we don't really get resources up here. So it's a lot of the times, the organizations that are up here, we just do things out of pocket. We're not really getting funded by the state. Like recently, yeah, when this first started, we weren't getting any money from the state. We were just doing the work like, hey, they're coming here. We need to make it happen. We need to show them that they're welcomed here. We don't want them to come here and get off these buses and feel like they're not welcome. So that was like the basis consensus with all the immigrant organizations. Like no matter what we need to do, whether we're getting the funding or not, we want to show them that like you're just not coming here and you get off the bus to like an empty parking lot. So
yeah, and I'll bring the gentleman back in for this, because what makes Albany a place that someone can feel that way about the individuals that live here, the diversity in the population? Why is Albany a place that it can happen and someone can be accepted?
Because I feel like Albany is a place for everyone. It's the capital region. For a place to be a capital, a lot of light has to be shed on that, because even in schools and if you live in another state, you're learning like, oh, what's the capital of New York? You'll say Albany. Okay, what's that about? So I feel like that plays a major role there. So I do feel like it's important, being that it's the capital.
Rockwell?
I feel like Albany is more of a family orientated. I feel you could raise a family here. It's just easy going. I think people would enjoy it more than a busy city.
Yeah, and I think with that comes hope for the future, right? I think there's a lot of people that work really hard to bring about what they believe this place should be and could be, right, at the end of the day.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you all for joining us,
Thank you.
Octavius, Dewedo, and Rockwell. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you so much.